30 days ago, I wanted to build a website, but I couldn't write a single line of code. And for the whole month, my focus was on learning how to program. Now the site is built and we're going to release it very soon. And by we, I mean me with my brother. To give you some context, he is a backend developer, and that's why I learned how to do front-end development. Just so we can combine our skills and make some projects together. For those who don't know, backend means behind the scenes stuff, and the frontend, it's how the site looks. It's the experience of the user on the site, and it's the interface. And I decided to make an affiliate website that is going to have articles about software for business owners. And the first tip, if you want to start learning programming, is to have a project already in mind, because you will learn a lot faster if you have something to build. For that reason, every front-end developer should first pick up Figma instead of computer languages, because you need to have a plan of how site will look like. If you don't have a plan how you're supposed to code the website, you need to design it first, and then you need to think about why I'm making this website, how I will monetize it. For example, our affiliate website is going to earn us commission from the software sales, and our website is going to be discoverable by search engines, and I'm going to promote it on my channels, for example. So you have to have this figured out before starting to code. And for the first week, my challenge was to learn HTML and CSS, because I had zero programming skills. I was messing around 10 years ago when I was 14. But I don't remember anything. So I needed to learn HTML, which is like a carcass for the site. HTML is a foundation, and CSS is the styling of your website. For example, the colors, the fonts, the images, all this stuff. And for that I took free Codecamp course. And the course you're going to take doesn't matter. What matters most is that you pick something. Don't overthink it. Just pick something and stick to the end. That's the best way to learn. Because you don't really need to switch the courses all the time. They're all practically the same. The free courses, the paid courses, the documentation you're going to read. What matters most is that you pick one source of information and stick with it till the end, and only then start something new. And if you are stuck on something, you can ask artificial intelligence. It became so good nowadays that it can write HTML and CSS for you, but always tell the AI to explain the logic behind the code. And I personally think that Claude is a lot better than ChatGPT, but to each his own. It shouldn't really take you more than a couple of days to learn HTML, because HTML is maybe the easiest programming language there is. Then you build your foundation of the site, and then you can style it with CSS. And that's where my second week started. I took a course on Free Codecamp on HTML, then I started to take a course on CSS. And for the whole second week I was just making the website and taking the course. Making the website and taking the course. And the code that I wrote is not that great. It's quite disgusting, to be honest. Even now, after 2 weeks, I see significant mistakes in it. But the cool thing with programming is that you can change everything anytime you choose. So if you learned how to do CSS better, you can rewrite the CSS. If you learn how to do JavaScript better, you can rewrite the JavaScript. Every website, every app has several versions. The version for the large screens and the version for the smaller screens. And you need to adapt it to smaller screens, obviously. And that's why you need to have a comprehensive plan already in mind before you start building. The coding itself is not that difficult. Every project is just a large to-do list. To write the content, to style the content, to add JavaScript, to adapt to smaller screens, to make other page, to make other page. Everything is built one line at a time. And HTML and CSS are not that difficult to master. All you need is like 2 weeks. Maybe you will have some problems centering out the divs in CSS. But even if you're completely unaware of what you're doing, how to center the image with the heading or something, you can just ask AI and it will do everything for you. But again, an important point, you need to tell it to explain it, everything it does, or else you will never learn. But artificial intelligence has already mastered HTML and CSS because it is not that difficult. Where the real programming started is the week 3, when I started to learn JavaScript. And this language is needed when you need the website to perform a certain action. If HTML is an object, CSS is an adjective, then JavaScript is a verb, is an action. I needed to make a carousel with slides, and I needed to make a table of content that is going to change according to the scrolling state of the site. If a user scrolls to a certain chapter, it will be seen in a table of content. So I really needed to make only 2 JavaScript actions. That's it. for the whole website. And that wasn't easy at all for me. JavaScript is where the real learning, the real hardship starts. And I bought a 60-hour course for $13 on Udemy. That's a great course. And I started to read a book on programming, which is called Eloquent JavaScript. Right now I am 20 hours into the course, but still with all this knowledge, I wasn't able to make a carousel and I wasn't able to make the table of contents to change. That's why on the fourth week I made it with the help of Claude. So you can just make all the functionality on the website by using artificial intelligence. But still you need to have an understanding of how the code works. You still need to be able to read it, to edit it. And when I was 20 hours in the JavaScript course, I still couldn't make the carousel. But I understood how the code works. I understood the logic behind the code. I understood the functions, the if-else statements, and all this beginner stuff. And that helped me to build a carousel with the help of AI. Without this initial knowledge, I highly doubt that I would have made the website. And I have a funny story about it. I was making the table of contents for maybe 5 hours. And I just couldn't understand why it doesn't work. But the thing was that HTML wasn't connected to the JavaScript. So I basically wasted 5 hours thinking that the code doesn't work, while it in fact works. The error was in the first point of failure. In the first step of the chain, I wasn't even bothering to look at. I was just confident that everything works, is just the code. That code sends me is not correct. So the advice I have is to always check for the first principles, always check for the first step of the chain, especially if you tried everything for a long period of time and it just doesn't work. Check for the first several steps. Maybe you will find an error there. So for my fourth week, I made all the stuff I wanted to make. The only thing that is left is to adapt the website to smaller screens. And then we'll release the website, and the only thing that is left is to market the website. And we also probably are going to build some other projects. That's not where my programming journey ends. And the cool thing is I can make the same website maybe for 1/4 of the time. My first project took me a month. My second project will take me a week maybe. And some key takeaways from building this project is that you can build something big just by doing it line by line, just by taking one step at a time. And I believe the only way to change the lives of other people is to create some technology. And if you want to be an entrepreneur, especially in the later stages, you need to have some technical skills. The soft skills are also important. You need to talk to people, you need to have some marketing, you need to shoot the content or to make sales. But still you need to have a deep technical knowledge, especially if you want to build something with technologies. And for that reason I started to learn front-end. Then I will probably learn the back-end also. Then I will probably learn the hardware. Because if you really think about that, all disciplines are interconnected with each other. And while learning how to code, I had to stop uploading content for a bit. Just because to progress in something, to learn something, you really need to let go of something else and dive deeper into the topic you want to dive deeper in. And every ounce of progress is made by sacrificing, is made by being intense about what you're doing. I'm glad I learned how to program, even though it's just a simple front end, but it's a stepping stone to something bigger. So I advise you, if you want to learn programming, just pick one popular language like JavaScript or Python or C++ or something and start learning it. It will probably come in handy at some point of your journey. No matter if you're just the regular entrepreneur, you still need to have technical knowledge. For example, how are you supposed to hire software engineers if you don't know how the code works? So that's it I wanted to cover today. I will repeat myself, every big goal you have is just achieved one step at a time. And the programming made it evident. You just build something one line of code at a time. Can you take another step? Of course you can. Can you write another word? Of course you can. If you want to continue to watch my videos, click this video right now. See ya.